Hi, I'm Peter Halling, and I'm going to talk about weeds. This presentation is directed at people in the education industry, particularly those who design curriculum, and what they can do to minimize the impacts of invasive weed species. So first I want to start by talking about what a weed actually is. Essentially, a weed is a plant that is out of place. This can be due to it outcompeting native plants for resources such as sunlight or nutrients, or if it's in agricultural land, it could be reducing crop yields, or even in public places like parks or schools, where some weeds can cause adverse effects on human health, such as asthma, rashes, anything like that. There are many control mechanisms in place for the management of weeds, such as legislation like the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act, as well as legislation that holds landholders accountable for managing weeds on their property, or even the implementation of fines to make sure people abide by certain rules. And then there's biological controls such as specific diseases or insects or grazing animals that target a desired species. And there's chemical control such as herbicides, and physical control like mowing, mulching or tilling. While command and control measures such as fines are effective, preventative measures will always be the better option. Preventative measures rely on stopping a problem before it even happens, or before it even gets a chance to become an issue. And these rely heavily on education and information mechanisms. And that's where schooling comes into it, and how it can be a really important tool in dealing with this environmental issue. Based on this idea that preventative maintenance is the most effective, more schools should implement educational programs to help their students develop an awareness and an understanding of the issue of weed management, and this can be combined with other subjects like agriculture or environmental sustainability to help give them a more broad sense of the environment around them. And there's never been a better time to do this because there is so much information on the internet currently, and outlined curriculums, programs to help schools become a part of this. Examples of this curriculum can be found on the Department of Agriculture and Food in West Australia's website. These programs range from early kindergarten all the way to year 12. They outline practical programs where kids can go outside and learn about the environment, things like plant identification, introduction to agriculture, even field trips to local areas, perhaps even Lansdale Farm. There's also in-class activities such as storybooks or videos for younger children so they can learn about this sort of thing early on. An example that I have here is from a website known as Prime Zone, and this was listed on the Department of Agriculture's website. It basically lists all kinds of different curriculums and even an age range for the recommended students. And you can search by keywords to find the kind of environmental thing that you want to focus on. And this just highlights the plethora of information that is out there for students and teachers to learn about environmental issues. These are just more examples of the kind of applications available to teachers, such as Prime Zone that I just shown, TES Australia or Primary Connections. These all provide outline curriculums and lots of information that teachers can use when instructing their students on environmental issues such as weeds. And finally, the incentives for implementing these weed management educational programs beyond the satisfaction of providing a better future and aiding the environment. There are grants and funding programs available, such as the National Land Care Program and the Green Army, who can be contacted by schools or individuals, and arrangements can be made to provide funding in return for aiding the environment in these programs.